like bulge in the cup curve, bulge in the up curve. For example, this is the example for bentonite gel. The formation of this type of curve is called as bulges. Formation of this type of curve is called as, this is the three-dimensional structure result or bulge formation. The crystalline plates of bentonite, that is we can call it as house of chord structure. House of chord structure, that is 10 to 15% bentonite gel. That means this may be due to arrangement of crystalline plates of bentonite. Crystalline plates of bentonite in the form of a house of chord. House of chord structure that causes the swelling of bentonite gel. Here the bentonite will be, swelling of bentonite will take place. Because of swelling of bentonite only, we are going to get bulged type of hysteresis loop. Bulged type of hysteresis loop, we can call it as bulges. Then spores. Spores means this procaine penicillin gel produces rheogram with characteristic spore-like protrusion. Spore-like protrusion. That means here this type of curve is obtained. This type of a sharp structural breakdown at a lower shear rate in the up curve, that is called as spore value. This example is for penicillin, procaine penicillin gel. Procaine penicillin gel. That means the structural breakdown is high. The spore value is represent sharp point of structural breakdown at low shear rate in the up curve. Example, procaine penicillin G, they exhibit definite spore value, that is Y. This value is called as spore value, that will give procaine penicillin G. That means prolonged blood level of a drug because of they form intramuscular depot in injection form. Once after giving injection, they form a depot in the muscle. After from that depot, the drug is slowly distributed throughout the body because of this spores. For that reason, this concept is playing an important role, especially in case of procaine penicillin G. The negative thixotropy or anti-thixotropy. What is negative thixotropy? What is anti-thixotropy? That is from time to time the measurement of thixotropy. At time to time, at a definite intervals of time, we are going to measure the thixotropy of material. One observes the phenomenon is called as negative thixotropy. Phenomenon is called as negative thixotropy. At a definite times of intervals, we are measuring the thixotropy for the same material. That is called as negative thixotropy or anti-thixotropy. That means it represents increase in the consistency on the down curve or resistance to flow with increased time of shear. For example, magnesia magma. Example is the magnesia magma. It exhibits an enhanced resistance to flow with increased time of shear compared to resting state. In a rheogram, down curve shifts to right to the up curve. In the next slide, I will show how the increasing and decreasing in thixotropy will take place. When the magnesia magma is sheared alternatively with increasing, then decrease the shear rate, and again magma is thickened. That means the cycle is continued. This cycle is continued at the extent of increase in the thickening reduces, finally they reaches to equilibrium until pourable. The material return to sol-like properties. There will be no change in the consistency curve. On further cycles, if you are applied shear rate also, there is no changes in the further, no changes in the curve. That is, it is seen in flocculated suspension containing a low solid content, that is 1 to 10%. Then diagrammatically we can see here increasing the rate of shear, again decreasing, increasing, decreasing, increasing, decreasing. That means several times we are apply the stress. The increasing the consistency, resistance to flow on down curve with increase on time of shear. This type of behavior in magnesia magma, they showing anti-thixotropy. Anti-thixotropy. Example is flocculated, low solid content, that's 1 to 10%, and equilibrium form is sol. Finally, we got sol. And rheopoxy or dilatancy means deflocculated, greater than 50% by volume of a solids and dispersed phase, and equilibrium form is gel. But in anti-thixotropy, final product is sol, and in rheopoxy or dilatancy means final is gel. This is called as anti-thixotropy compared with dilatancy or rheopoxy. And here comparison, differentiate between the thixotropy and anti-thixotropy. Thixotropy and anti-thixotropy. That means in case of thixotropy, decrease in viscosity as a function of time upon shearing, then recovery of original viscosity as a function of time without shearing. Example for this is procaine penicillin G, 40 to 70% weight by volume in water. Whereas the anti-thixotropy, increase in the consistency, resistance to flow and down curve with increase in time of shear, increased collision frequency of particle, that is example is magnesia magma. The difference between the thixotropy and anti-thixotropy. And determination of rheological behavior. Here the determination of rheological behavior or viscosity. For the determination of viscosity or measurement of viscosity is most important. That is choice of viscometer. There are different types of viscometers are generally used for the determination of viscosity. The choice of viscometer means the viscometers are used to determine the viscosity of liquids, and selection of appropriate viscometers are used for the, it is necessary a proper viscometers are used for successful determination of viscosity, and this selection is mainly depending upon the how we are going to select the different viscometers. The most important is the selection is mainly depending upon the type of the system whose viscosity is to be determined. In case of Newtonian system, where the shear rate is proportional to shear stress, for the Newtonian system, a single point viscometer can be used. Single point viscometer can be used for the determination of viscosity of Newtonian system. Examples for single point viscometer, capillary viscometer and falling sphere viscometer. There are two examples are there. Two types of viscometers are there. The single point viscometer, one is capillary viscometer, falling sphere viscometer. In case of non-Newtonian flow or non-Newtonian bodies, the multi-point viscometers are required. Multi-point viscometers are required. What are those? For the examples for multi-point viscometer is cone and plate viscometer, cup and bob viscometer. Cone and plate and cup and bob viscometer. These two types of viscometers are used for determination of viscosity of non-Newtonian flow. Let us see one by one. First one is capillary viscometer. The capillary viscometer is also called as Ostwald viscometer or Ostwald U-tube viscometer. Capillary viscometer we can also call as Ostwald viscometer or Ostwald U-tube viscometer. What is the principle behind that? The main principle here is this may be determined by measuring the time required for the liquid to pass between the two marks. There are two marks will be there. I will show. For passing the liquid from mark 1 to mark 2. That is only due to gravity only. The flow will be by gravity through vertical capillary tube is known as Ostwald viscometer. The time of flow of liquid under the test is compared with time required for liquid unknown viscosity. That is known viscosity water. That can be compared with known viscosity. The known viscosity is water is used. Water viscosity we know. We are comparing with unknown liquid. The viscosity of unknown liquid nu can be determined by using this equation. Nu1 divided by nu2 is equal to rho1 by T2, rho2 T2, where rho1 is density of unknown liquid, rho2 is the density of known liquid, T1 is the time of flow for unknown liquid, T2 is time of flow for known liquid. Known liquid is, you know, water, for your kind information. And N2 is the viscosity of the liquid. By using this formula, we can calculate the viscosity. Okay, we already told the Ostwald viscometer or capillary viscometer. There are 2 points are there in the diagrammatic. Point A and point B. This is the capillary tube. We can start the time from liquid passing through the point A to point B. How much time to flow of liquid from point A to point B? That time is important. That time is noted. That means that clean the first. You take the capillary viscometer. First clean the capillary viscometer with chromic acid. After proper cleaning, fill the viscometer with liquid. This is whatever the liquid you have to take. You fill the liquid in the tube using pipette, and the liquid is examined left arm of tube slightly above the bubble you using. If any bubbles are there, you just observe. Suck the liquid till above the mark point. Above the mark point. Then allow to stop mark. Okay. Note down the time of flow for liquid from start mark to end mark. How much time taken flow of fluid from point A to point B. That means determine the viscosity using formula where the viscosity of water viscosity, you know, the viscosity of water is 0.9 centipoise. Therefore, N2 is equal, nu2 is equal to viscosity of unknown liquid. We don't know. We have to determine the viscosity. That is rho 2 into T2 divided by rho 2 into T2 divided by nu1. Nu1 is the viscosity of water. Once this, we got the data, time, everything, definitely we can calculate by using this formula. We can calculate the viscosity of unknown liquid. And these viscometers are used for only, this method or this instrument is used for, suitable for low viscous liquid. Low viscous liquid. If high viscous liquid is, this method is not used, because if the viscosity is high viscous liquid means cannot flow properly in this capillary tube. That is the drawback. This is applicable for only low viscous liquid. Viscosity can be determined. Second one, falling sphere viscometer. Falling sphere viscometer means it follows Stokes' law, and glass or steel balls are rolled down almost vertical tube containing a test liquid. The rate speed at which ball with a particular density. Stainless steel ball is having particular density is selected. The diameter is also selected, that is inversely proportional to viscosity of the liquid. And in this diagram, this is the steel ball, and how the ball, that is, this is the sample tube from point A to point B, and outside there is a constant temperature jacket. For that constant temperature jacket means the continuously water is supplied. This is a inlet of water and this is outlet of water, because to maintain the temperature of this whole liquid. And the sample tube, you take the sample, and at a particular density of ball, the steel ball is placed. How much time to take and roll the ball or move the ball from A to B? A to B. The sample ball are placed in an inner tube and allowed to equilibrate the temperature, that is jacket is there, and tube jacket inverted required to ball to fall between the two marks from A to B. That is, viscosity is calculated by using this formula. Nu is equal to T into SB minus SF multiplied by B, where T is called as time interval in seconds, SB minus SF specific gravities of ball and fluid. The specific gravity of ball as well as liquid, and B is the constant for ball supplied by instrument manufacturer. That is, the constant value will be there. By using this, we can calculate the viscosity of unknown. Whatever the unknown viscosity is there, that is filled in this tube, and the steel ball is placed, and moment that depend, the moment of steel ball from point A to point B, that is depending upon the viscosity only. Then the apparatus consists of a vertical tube. The constant temperature jacket is there so as to maintain the, why this constant jacket temperature? Suppose if the temperature is not maintained, while your determination sometime temperature may be increased or decreased. Suppose the temperature is increased, the viscosity is changed. If the temperature is decreased, viscosity is decreased. When the viscosity is decreased, we cannot measure properly viscosity. The moving of ball will increasing and decreasing. Suppose the temperature is increased, the viscosity is decreased, that means ball will fall immediately. For that reason, to maintain the constant temperature, continuous water circulation will be there. The time taken ball to fall between the two marks, that is previous slide only I showed, mark A to mark B, how much time taken, that is 2 marks. That is reported for several times, 4 or 5 times you note down, you take the average. This instrument can be used liquid ranging from 0.5 to 2 lakhs poise. 0.5 to 2 lakhs poise we can use. Better result, select ball. If you want to better result, we can select the ball. The travel distance less than 30 seconds. For example, whatever the distance A to B, travel will be the less than 30 seconds. Like that you have to select the ball. That is most important. We get the accurate readings. Okay. And coming to third one, multi-point viscometers. Cup and bob or bob and cup viscometer. This is used for the determination of viscosity of both Newtonian liquid or Newtonian flow, non-Newtonian systems. This type of viscometer, cup and bob viscometers, are used for determination of viscosity for both Newtonian and non-Newtonian systems. Then what is the principle? The principle involved in this case is, the instrument consists of 2 parts, name itself. One is cup, another one is bob. The instrument consists of two parts. One is cup, another one is bob. The cup is stationary. In this case, the cup is stationary, and whatever the sample which is to be subjected for viscosity, that is placed in the cup, and bob is allowed to fit into the cup. This is the cup, and bob is fit into the cup appropriate at a height. The sample accommodated between the gap of cup and bob. Cup and bob. Now either the cup or bob is made to rotate. Torque resulting from the viscous of drug is measured by spinning. This is called as rotational viscosity. For example, here what happens? This is the bob, this is rotating bob, and this is the stationary cup. This is stationary cup. Whatever the sample is there, whose viscosity is determined, that sample is placed in a